Cozy games are a certain niche of video games whose point is just to make you relax. Some people thought it was a recent phenomenon, but Piglet...
What the fuck?
Unlike the console counterpart that is basically Silent Hill for kids, this one is closer to an adventure game, a kid's game with puzzles and solutions with a simpler combat. As you explore your friend's dreams, there are these nice little illustrations everywhere, making this adventure almost part of the Winnie the Pooh books. It's nice and relaxing, unlike the actual game sprites. Just like most Game Boy Advance titles, instead of doing actual pixel art, people just use 3D CG illustrations as sprites. Sometimes it really works well, while other times it can be a bit uncanny. Like in this kid's game. But fortunately, this Piglet game is not as scary as the console counterpart. So this is a cozy kids game with puzzles and solutions, with a very simpler combat. Less spooks, more cozy. Aside from maybe Hamtaro or even Mario Tennis, most of these cozier adventure games weren't really that well received. Mostly because they were licensed titles, often made by developers who have to get crunched by executives who just want a product more than an expansion of the license's universe. So yeah, those can be annoying. I'd also say that oftentimes there was a bias against any alternate type of video games during the GBA era. So most cozy titles on the console weren't highly praised and were targeted towards girls/children. What even was there on GBA? Nicktoons Freeze Frame Frenzy? Oh yeah, remember Nicktoons? No, those Nicktoons. Well, someone decided to make a Nickelodeon crossover on the GBA that's basically like Pokemon's but Nicktoons. Apparently in Nicktoons there's an imposter among us. So Jimmy sends the gang to investigate with the cameras, so you have to take pictures of certain stuff to get objective done. While there is an health bar, most of the games retains the coziness of Pokemon Snap, while also having fun with the Nickelodeon brands. The devs clearly love Nicktoons and inserted so many references, it blurs the line between licensed game shoving for execs and passion project. You get to explore the Nicktoon universes in a very satisfying manner while eliminating any anomalies that don't belong. There's also boss battles, but they suck. Probably, I only played the first one. I think this title is a simple fun ride for people who are at least familiar with Nicktoons. And while it might not beat Pokemon Snap, this title deserves to be known a lot more. Even though I feel like the mechanics could have been more polished, while the zoomed-in camera is a result of the GBA's tiny screen. A lot of titles, including the infamous Sonic Genesis port, was zoomed in because the Game Boy Advance's screen was so tiny. At the very least, Game Boy Advance video footage did not really need to be zoomed in, because it has already enough problems, because holy carb, $40 for 2 episodes? And it doesn't even work for the Game Boy player? Count me out. As well as Nickelodeon titles, there were also some other Disney titles on the console, but I feel like they could have been better. I might despise Life is Strange's writing, but hey, a story about a teenage girl that has psychic powers. What does this remind me of? That's so Raven, it's the future I can see. That's so Raven, so mysterious to me. Yeah, c'est moi. All of the Raven titles were rushed adventure games, but also tried to gamify the adventure aspects. I wished Raven got an actual Life is Strange-like adventure game with branching dialogues, but I feel like we would have gotten one on Wii, but Raven was released in 2004. Maybe a simple point and click in the style of Sam and Max? I'm bargaining here because from what I've remembered, That's So Raven's writing was fine. So a cozy little sitcom story would have been fine in game form, but Disney didn't want to, so we got Xenoblade instead.
I'm really feeling it!
I really liked how the I can see the future mechanic was integrated in the gameplay. Too bad Xenoblade is far from a cozy game, except for that one snowy mountain at night. That's just a vibe. Another Wii RPG I vibed with was Epuna. I talked about it in that one video about woke video games. However, I would not call it a cozy title, especially since the RPG mechanics have a surprising amount of depth and you need to grind for a bit. So what if there was Epuna but without any combat? I mean, what else has Arte Piazza done? Innocent Life? What's that? Oh. So basically Harvest Moon was such a success that there were two spin-offs being developed at the same time. Rune Factory for the DS and Innocent Life for the PSP. Rune Factory is an action RPG with a fantasy setting and a big story with a lot of characters. It also spawned a surprising amount of sequels, while Innocent Life was left in the obscurity, even with a PS2 port. So why was it left in obscurity? Because it literally is Epuna's parent. Epuna fans, assemble! Innocent Life is about a robot Dick Tracy named Life who has to start farming because apparently the harvest spirits are angry and want to destroy the city due to some auto-farming shenanigans. Due to auto-farming, nobody wants to farm normally, while the mayor doesn't want to give more budget to people who could provide a potential solution to the potential catastrophe that could be caused by these spirits. Wow, elites refusing to do anything about a certain crisis? That reminds me of a certain current crisis. Wait, video games have always been political? Always have been. So this title has both the farming of Harvest Moon mixed with the walking/talking of Moon Remix RPG adventure. Yes, the people here are alive and have their own schedules, so the title wants you to multitask farming and socializing. Farming is unfortunately not that important, so the first day I've spent were spent cooking. A lot! Mostly due to how you can't go to town until you get your first harvest, after probably 5-6 days. My problem is that you need to waste a lot of those hours of a day by going to bed early, since you can't go hang out with people in town. So my cooking stat ended up going up to 50. I watched a fictional cooking show once, and then I spammed the same recipe over and over again. Tedious? Yes. Productive? Also yes. The rest of the title is spent exploring ruins or talking to people. My favorite aspect has to be the talking, walking, and just hanging out with the NPCs, since despite the localization not being top-notch, everyone is well written here. The inhabitants of Volcano Town, I think, all have their thoughts and worries. Again, similar to Tulip or Moon, but the aspects of the title that's the most similar to Epuna are the stats. The more you explore the game's world, the more stats you gain. Some of the stats you'll gain are farm related, while others like love, humor are done through activities or just by talking to people, even by watching television. Some of those aspects are cryptic, so I would not be surprised if the manual explained them better. I still am going in without prior knowledge, since at this point I just want to explore the world. Plus it feels like it might be better that way, because there are multiple endings. Also, the presentation feels shockingly similar to Apuna. As someone who always needs more Apuna, this is like finding a gold mine. I can guarantee I will find a way to love this game, although I enjoyed what I've played so far, and especially since the days are long, so it'll take a long while before I even get to the Spring Festival. Maybe I'll update my thoughts about this game later. All that matters is that the graphics look like Apuna, the text looks like Apuna, while the music sounds a bit like Apuna. But Apuna has orchestral music. So yeah, Innocent Life is a pretty neat cozy title, so I'll take my time to finish it, eventually. As for the DS, the cozy titles were mostly pet simulators or cooking. If you ask me, I would describe Cooking Mama as an arcadey-like cooking game, where you simply aim to get the best score. So no, I don't feel like the game is cozy at all. While Nintendogs is just a very cute vibe, every aspect of this game is cozy in ways that are almost revolutionary. The music, the gameplay loop, the little touches here and there. Nintendogs is very cozy. I'd even argue as cozy as most Tamagotchis. So yeah, I would argue that it is one of the coziest games of the DS, hence why a bunch of cozy titles tried to make the console vibe. I would like to talk about Electroplankton or that one magician game, but I don't own them. All I can afford is Zenses. More like Zensee's nuts. Zenses is a collection of puzzle games themed about either the ocean or the rainforest. I have the ocean one, but I need to buy the rainforest one. I'll talk about the other one later. It's not like Electroplankton, it's more like Feel the Magic XY/X6 minigame energy, but endless. It does feel like touchscreen activities from games around the DS's launch, or even some maps from the early iPhone era. Most of these minigames have no real time limits, so you can take as much time as you want for each one. I would also call these activities very simple, so I'd only recommend it in short bursts. There's also the music. This very ambient, relaxing music that was included on a website that I can no longer access. I'll try the Wayback Machine to access it, so I might try it later. But don't get your hopes up. The tagline "Escape Your World" kinda works, as these simple activities being done over and over again is hypnotizing. There are also 9 levels of difficulty, so it can be as cozy or as challenging as you want. Shin'en made this game as well as the Super Bard of Balance. Wait a second. I would easily consider Art of Balance a cozy game. Yep, despite the stress of making sure the objects are stacked on each other, you get as many tries as you want with no time limit. That, along with the cozy presentation, makes me feel warm inside. Most of the time at the very least. It feels at home for every console it's on, but I want to see it on PC. I consider it a cozy title and probably a great side companion for the Zenses games, although I definitely prefer Art of Balance. A DS cozy game and a Wii cozy game. Are there any other cozy games I forgot about? Meow. Mystery Case Files, The Mulgrave Incident. If I included Myst and other point-and-click titles, I need to include this one. Nintendo had published a couple of point-and-click titles during the Wii DS era. 2 of them were Mystery Case case file related. The Mulgrave incident is about you getting a mysterious package and being invited to the Mulgrave Island to save Sarah. The story is actually really good, I think. While the graphics are like this, it looks a bit creepy, but it's far from an horror game. You can't get a game over despite some of the puzzles being complicated. The thing is that this is an hidden object game, also where you can find objects you'll use later in these segments. Too bad most of the other objects you find are pointless. Still, playing the Mulgrave incident feels like going on a vacation in an unhinged location. You still get to explore, discovering new things along the way. In the end, you'll be back in one piece. Mulgrave incident do be cozy in that unhinged way. Who said cozy games can't be creepy? Like, I know people who find coziness in The Nightmare Before Christmas or even Coraline, and those movies are also very creepy. So Mulgrave incident is a cozy game, just also kinda unhinged and creepy. One last series of titles is one I forgot about many times. Boku no Piami no Natsuyami is a game about a kid having fun on a summer vacation. Explore as much as you want in this relaxing cozy world. If you know Japanese, you see I haven't played any of these titles since they're all in Japanese. What I've played is the successor by the same devs called Attack of the Friday Monsters, a Tokyo Tale. It came from an initiative from Level 5 called the Guild 01 and the Guild 02 to let devs loose by letting them develop smaller titles for the 3DS. So Attack of the Friday Monsters is about a kid messing around on a Friday where monsters attack the city. The backgrounds are in 2D, the characters are in 3D. That gives the whole presentation this very cozy feel, with a story I absolutely loved. There is a card minigame you have to play, which, while I would not call it super necessary, I still enjoy. It's too bad the eShop is no longer open. Yarr, be a pirate, yarr. So if you want something similar, I'd recommend the Natsumon or the Shin'en games that are on PC or on Switch. But those are recent games, so I'll simply end the video there because I want to talk about the old and stinky ones. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe, and have fun!